Hello there, thanks for coming by PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard and so tickled to be showing you a Fall 64 Stones concert poster from America. This is just a real favorite of mine. This is only their second American tour, again the fall of 1964, and this one is specifically from November 13th in Dayton, Ohio. And just, I've shown you this tour blank before on another blog or two, but I just never get tired of it. The Rolling Stones in person, 2 pictures of them from the streets of London, red, white, and blue colors. I just, in concert it says on there, I just think it's such an early favorite of mine. I just really like it. Now, they didn't use a tour blank on their first American tour. It was so short, so this is the first time one was used. And you know, there's no better way to illustrate to the uninitiated what a tour blank is than to find one with the venue information actually written in by hand, like this one has, down in the blank white space down there at the bottom. It really, usually that stuff was machine printed in there, but for this particular date, it was handwritten in. And I'll show you actually real quickly. I've blogged this before. This is what it looks like with the information. See that? That's the very next day in Louisville, Kentucky, and it's printed in, and that's November 14th, and that's what most of them look like. In fact, for the 64 tour, this is the only one, as I go off camera practically, that I've seen that is handwritten in, although I've seen lots of other, posters in other genres, like rhythm and blues posters, where it's written in. But, every once in a while, I should say, for whatever reason, there's a lot of reasons, a last-minute booking, or maybe the promoter was just late in finalizing details like exact ticket prices. The local promoter would just be sent a small stack of blanks and say, the home office would say, go ahead and fill it in yourself, and that would leave the local promoter, as they did here in Dayton, for one person to just sit down and get a pen out or a marker and just fill out a whole bunch of them by hand. Now, we have some evidence of this. A small stash of these was actually found, I'm guessing, thinking in the 1990s, and they all had the same handwriting, the same style, and pretty much said the same thing, word for word. So we have good evidence that's exactly what happened with this particular show. So looking at the details on this particular show, as I just said, you've got November 13th, no weekday and no year. Oddly, usually they would say Friday or Friday night, but it just says November 13th. And then Hara Arena, Dayton, Ohio, to finish off the left-hand side there. Pretty hilarious they put Ohio. I mean, come on, everybody in the area knows what state they're in. But I will give them this. The Indiana border was about 42 miles away from Dayton, so maybe they distributed a few posters over the border in Indiana, who knows. And then on the right-hand side, you can see it says tickets on sale. And number 1, Mayors Record Shop. Number 2, Sears. And number 3, it says Wampler's Arena, which was the name of the overall complex, by the way, in which this was all based. But the Hara Arena element of Wampler's had actually just opened this year in 1964, so the Stones were playing a brand new place. Well, despite all these marketing efforts, all these posters, even with the handwritten info, and probably newspaper and television ads, unfortunately this thing sold terribly, but that was not so unusual for the Stones in '64, still without a big hit single under their belt. And we have photographic evidence of how terribly it sold. Look at this is astonishing. Look at that picture, Hara Arena. The Stones themselves not on stage yet, the small, make that paltry audience waiting. But isn't that a riot? The Stones equipment is on stage, and that's just, I wish we had a picture like this for all old concert posters. That just really brings it home. It's just amazing. And the Stones would sell thousands of tickets in New York and Los Angeles, but it was a tough slog in the Midwest until they really got going with the biggies like Satisfaction the next year. Keith Richards, of course, Stones guitarist, once said about the Stones' 64 appearances in the Midwest, he, quote, the first time we'd arrive in a new town, we'd get to the auditorium and there's 600 people in a 15,000 seat hall. So, Dayton was not, isolated by any means in this incident. Now, Hara Arena didn't hold 15,000, it just held 6,000. But indeed, the newspaper review the following day, in reviewing the show, said that less than 1,000 people attended. Under 1,000. In fact, here, with the headline, Rolling Stones gather no customers here, already playing on the Gathering No Moss thing. There's the newspaper review and a bad reproduction of the photo I just showed you in better quality. But This thing was a stiff. It was a dud. But in the Midwest, they were slowly making fans, perhaps one at a time. And what's ironic is that this was actually the exact week the Stones became a top 20 American hit singles band. I mean the exact week. Their single "Time Is on My Side" entered Billboard magazine's Hot 100, the top 20. In the issue dated November 14th, and this is, as you know, November 13th, and so, it went in, jumped up to number 18, so their first top 20 single entered this week, so, but again, things didn't happen instantaneously back then like they do in the internet era. Well, I found I should take a breath to give a little pause for a second. What I find equally astonishing about this particular date and show is the Stones were on stage for less than 20 minutes. Less than 20 minutes? What is up with that? Let's call it 18 minutes. I don't know. That was the newspaper review that pointed that out. And Bill Wyman's book, bass player, of course, for the Stones, on this particular show said we did half a dozen songs and got out of there. Now, those poor people gathered around that stage, all the time and effort that went into this, 6 songs in 18 minutes and gone? That's just crazy. I mean, the Beatles had an excuse for playing their 20 and 30-minute shows. The fans were about to tear the place down and there were thousands more outside, but that looked like a fairly sedate crowd just sitting there waiting for the Stones to show up. I'll tell you, that doesn't seem too fair. But the Stones had only 10 songs in rotation for their second American tour. Tell Me, You're Coming Back, and Not Fade Away, of course, and I'm a King Bee. But the crowd not only got only 6 songs in 18 minutes, or under 20 minutes, they got ripped off another way. While they're sitting there waiting for the Stones to come out, maybe the moment that picture was taken, the PA announcer came on and said, "We're sorry, Brian Jones is ill and will not be appearing with the Stones today." And this audible moan went out throughout the crowd because, Brian was in '64, he was the King Bee. He was the head Stone, the founder of the group and stuff, and the girls screamed for him much more than Mick Jagger. So, a little bit of a bum show, but now you're probably thinking only the promoter made out, right? Like a bandit laughing all the way to the bank? Nope. With that small amount of ticket sales, the newspaper reported the promoter took a $5,000 bath. And that's $5,000 in 1964 money. Ouch and double ouch. So I guess only the Stones themselves were the winner. They showed up and played 6 songs, skedaddled, and took their guaranteed paycheck. But hey, everybody learned, right? And I would have loved to have been there, even for only 6 songs. I would have loved to have said I was there. So this is the original advertising concert window card. Great piece, great fun, and era of great innocence. Thanks a lot for dropping by, and we'll see you next time for something soon. Bye-bye.